That was Göteborgs Kraftsportsklubb, which then became my home base for the next 10 years.
I'm not going to try and pronounce that one.
And I broke another rib a few months later again. I feel like you should have learned after the first time, but... Well, I'm running a half marathon in 4 weeks, for some reason.
All right, Izzy, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
How have you been? Been
good? Yeah.
So you just did SBD Cup, what was that, 3 weeks ago now? How'd you find your experience this year compared to last year?
Interesting. Last year was straightforward, just so much fun.
Yeah.
No further comments. It was just amazing. I had the best time ever. This year I came in with different goals and didn't live up to them in the same way, which is always, it doesn't mean that it was a bad experience, but it means that it takes more time to process how you feel about it.
Have you fully processed it? What's it been, only 3 weeks now?
Yeah.
Have you fully processed it yet?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So what are you thinking about it now?
Well, obviously, I don't know if it is obvious, but for those who don't know, I wanted to weigh in the 76 kilo category, and I thought I had a chance for a podium placement in that category. And I knew I didn't have a chance in the 84. And then on the day off, I felt really bad during the water cut, and I decided to call it and weighed in at a couple of kilos over and had to shift pretty quickly into the mindset of, okay, I'm just going to try and push my PBs and hopefully break some records in the individual lifts. So there's disappointment there, obviously, and you think to yourself, was I, quote unquote, weak for giving up on that, pushing that last bit? Does this say something about me as an athlete compared to who I used to be as an athlete? Am I getting a little bit outdated, not pushing as hard anymore? And you kind of, I think things automatically come up that you're like, I don't know how I feel about this. But I was bummed out for a bit, processed that, and then decided to go back to my values around competing at this point in time, which is to have fun and do my best. And once I kind of reconnected with that, that was really what was happening. I was just having fun and doing my best and got really good results out of it.
Yeah, I think that's such a good mantra. And I think a lot of lifters who are new in powerlifting forget that. And I think that's something that everyone should come back to all the time. Is I got into this to have fun and enjoy myself and do my best and try as hard as I can and then reap the rewards of that and have fun along the way. And then people get so caught up in setting expectations for themselves or goals or particular numbers or whatever, and they lose sight of that. Do you feel like that you've actually lost sight of that in the past, in previous iterations of Izzy?
I think I was so committed to powerlifting for so many years that it consumed my entire existence for well over a decade. And it got to a point where life and adult things in life, that happens in an adult's life, catch up with you. And the combination of actual life stressors, real horrible things, like losing a parent and things like that, caught up with me. And I couldn't be so consumed by powerlifting anymore. And the crash out there was pretty painful, not being able to be so singularly focused anymore and realizing that I had to kind of grow out of it in order to continue doing it.
Was that a conscious decision, or was it something that you battled with and kind of ran into the decision because you couldn't continue going? Or did you make a choice at a certain point in time?
I think it took me 3-4 years of struggle with that.
What timeline was this?
From my last competition before the lockdowns, which was Arnold Grand Prix in March 2020. That was right after my dad died. So I went there kind of still processing that. Came back and we went into lockdowns the same week I came back. I was in lockdowns for 20 months. And I think...
Did you say 20 months?
Yes, in Melbourne.
Oh, you're in Melbourne.
Yeah. Yeah. And...
That doesn't that seem like 20 years ago now?
I know.
It seems like a different lifetime.
Yeah. And I think it was pretty traumatic, actually. Looking back on it.
Yeah.
And then I kept battling with it back and forth. I said, I'm quitting this sport multiple times. And I think I did. And then I kept going back because I missed it. And I thought I have more in me. I need to continue back and forth, whole thing. And then came out of lockdown, moved to Sydney. Things got a bit stressful with business and everything. Continued to struggle well throughout 2023. And then SBD Cup came around last year. And I was like, yeah, I'm back. This is it. I love this. So it was last year's competition that got me feeling really good about lifting again, competing in powerlifting again.
That's so cool to hear. Like,
Yeah.
especially, we feel especially privileged that you can have that experience here.
Mm.
What are some of the reasons why you think that was the case?
Well, brutally honest, I think it was just a whole debacle with the whole federation situation for a long time. And, you know, I pulled out of Worlds.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but it was because of how things were being conducted by the previous people in charge. Don't need to go into that, but that in itself just really put me off. Like, I didn't want to be a part of it. And seeing how things were finally starting to come together, lifters were given a chance to actually prove themselves and get the right support and right environment to thrive during their competitions, felt really big. I always missed competing for Sweden because we have a really well-established competition culture there, both in terms of the athletes on the national team and the coaches and the administration of the federation. It's all very well run and you feel very supported.
Does the government give you guys grants and stuff like that as well?
Yeah, I think it's dependent on membership. So if you want to compete in powerlifting, you have to be part of a powerlifting club. So each gym each club has their own space and they get members, and then that money goes into the overall federation.
Got it. Right.
I mean, obviously we have memberships here as well, but it's more layered there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go back to something you said earlier about the weight cut to 76 for SBD Cup. Now, you have a very interesting story about a previous weight cut for World Championships.
Yeah, wild,
What year was that? 2018?
2018.
2018. Can you tell that story? Because I actually haven't heard you tell this story.
Okay. So as a person, I think I probably naturally, with my weight and amount of muscle mass, I probably sit naturally around like 75-ish, above to 80, something like that. One year, once upon a time, I decided I'm going to cut down to 63. Because we didn't have the 69 kilo class back then.
Yeah.
It was 63 and 72. And I always competed in 72. And I thought...
What was the reason why you wanted to move down?
I wanted to win Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be world champion. Really bad. So...
And before that, you'd finished second and third a couple of times?
Yeah. 3 times. 2 bronze and 1 silver at Worlds in the 72s. So I proceeded to cut weight under like really incompetent guidance.
Who was that?
I'm not going to drop any names, but oh my God.
I had to ask.
I'll tell you later. And I just got unbelievably lean and was still like at many kilos above 70 probably. And then went to Canada to do this kind of crazy water cut and tried to cut from, I think it was from like 69 to 63 when you already look like, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I did water bath, hot bath after hot bath after hot bath. And I managed to weigh in at 63.5. And obviously you don't get to compete at Worlds when you miss your weigh-in. So I missed that, sat in Canada and cried for a bit. Yeah.
How do you think that experience would have been different had we had the 69 kilo class at that time? Do you feel like that would have been your class, or do you feel like 76 would have been your class?
No, it was 69 at that time because I was smaller back then, you know. I think that would have been a good spot for me, yeah.
All right.
Strength-wise as well, because I kept increasing my strength while I kept dropping the weight. Sometimes that happens. So there was no question that I was at my strongest ever. I still haven't hit those PBs yet.
So you don't make weight at Worlds. What happens after that?
Spiral.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah, I just spiraled. Yeah. Again, trauma.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I got really obsessed with trying to continue to weigh in 63s. I think because of the really, really drastic weight cut and levels of leanness, my hormones were absolutely all over the place, gaining the weight back. And like, the just constant hunger when you're too lean and you're...
Yeah, you're talking to the wrong person.
Oh, yeah. We're just thinking about like all the female hormones that need body fat to function properly. Like that was just completely a mess. And I picked up a lot of disordered eating behaviors throughout that year. And that became like another 4-year struggle just to kind of not have food noise and weird thoughts about food again.
So I want to come back to that in a second. Did you actually end up competing as a 63 ever?
No.
You never did?
No.
So how did you then overcome all of that food noise and those disordered behaviors?
That was part of my wishy-washy breakup with powerlifting, where I took a step back because I tried to compete in 76 multiple times, and I kept like feeling like those really disordered behaviors kept popping up every time a comp was coming around the corner, and I kept pulling out because I'm like, this is really bad for my mental health just to go through the weigh-in. And I decided to just focus on like really learn everything I could about intuitive eating and understand all of these things for I think 2 years just to figure out what eating normally actually meant. And yeah, I mean, it works if you actually commit to it. I got lots of help and lots of guidance as well, and felt this time around, like now I'm feeling good and my like relationship feels really solid, like relationship to food feels really solid, my body feels really stable, and I don't have like any of those thoughts whatsoever anymore when it comes to competing in weight class, and it's become neutral again, if that makes sense.
So what were some of those things that helped you along the way there? Like did you have any particular strategies that you used in that period to kind of change your mindset around it?
Compassion is probably the word that comes to mind. Self-compassion. And learning to listen to your body and actually understand the signals it's trying to send to you. Am I hungry? Am I full? What am I feeling right now? Am I anxious? Where is this behavior coming from? And just listening in to all the cues that your body is so elegantly always trying to send to you that we tend to ignore as athletes.
Yeah, it's so
especially.
easy to ignore as an athlete for sure, because you're constantly trying to be a certain weight or a certain leanness, or you've got a comp around the corner, or you're trying to fuel your body, so you need this particular meal or this particular set of macros or whatever. When I first started this podcast, I used to get every episode was with a guest, and we would always start with the first question, which was, what was your first memory of the physical culture space, and how did that sort of like get you into the gym?
I wish I had a cool answer, like some early inspiration or early memory, but I had no thought of it whatsoever until I was 23. And I was just partying a lot, as we do when we're young. But my sister had enough of my destructive behavior and literally just forced me to the gym. She got me a gym membership and said, you need to exercise because that's what people need to do and you're not doing it. And I started lifting with her. And that experience was just so fundamentally cathartic that became why I became a powerlifter.
Did your sister powerlift?
No.
So how did you find it then? Because, I mean, I imagine in Sweden it's a little bit different to here. It's more embedded in the culture over there. I feel like, Sweden has such a rich history of powerlifting that it would have been more accessible there than when I started. Did you just come across it at the gym?
I'd never heard of it. And I was training at a commercial gym. And I got a personal trainer, Emma. Shout out to her because she was very, very good. And I just wanted help with, not hurting myself using the equipment. So she showed me how to deadlift, squat, and bench. She was a bikini fitness competitor, so she had kind of like a basic understanding of those things. And I think I trained with her for like 2 months, and I squatted 130 kilos. And she's like, I can't spot you anymore, so I think you should go find a powerlifting gym.
So what was that gym then?
That was Göteborgs Kraftsportsklubb, which then became my home base for the next 10 years.
I'm not going to try and pronounce that one.
I still go there and train with them when I come home. Like it's
Really?
yeah.
That's so cool. So you stayed at that gym throughout your competitive career as well? That's so cool. Did they like pass you off to a particular coach or?
There was kind of like this one guy there that was coaching people. We didn't have this coach culture back then as we do now in Australia, and I guess since online coaching didn't really exist in that way in Sweden. So there's just always that one guy that's been around for the longest.
Yeah.
Becomes token coach.
Yeah.
I didn't charge or anything. So he just, I suppose, saw that I had a natural talent, and he said, next year you're going to win nationals, and that's it. You're with us now.
Did you?
No, I came second.
Who were some of your early inspirations? I guess not even in the fitness industry, but in like the powerlifting world. Like, were there people that you looked up to?
Yeah, Kimberly Walford for sure. A friend at the club. You know, I didn't know anything about lifting. I would Google like, what's strong for a girl? Things like that. Reddit, you know, just trying to figure out what to expect.
Yeah.
And a friend at the gym showed me a video of her deadlifting 235 kilos at the time, world record. And it just blew my mind. I think it was in that moment where I realized that this is actually what I'm also capable of. And this is what women are capable of. Because it's 2012, 2013. Instagram women aren't posting powerlifting on Instagram at this time. That just doesn't really exist. It was so foreign, everything. And when you don't know anything about it, you don't know what you're capable of until you see other people do it. And then seeing her pull that weight, it was just like these gates opened to like a world of possibility.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have that same experience with Kim. Have you met her?
Yeah, she's amazing.
Have you become friends with her and stuff?
Yeah, she's so nice.
You competed against her at Worlds as well. What was that like, sort of going up against your idol?
Well, I've always felt at Worlds when you compete that everyone is so professional and in their zone, I would say myself included, that you kind of just collaborate where you need to in terms of warm-up area. And you don't interact that much in the same way that someone might at a local comp be a little bit more giddy, nervous, chatty. Like everyone, I feel, is pretty quiet except talking to their coaches.
Yeah. Did she have like a particular aura around her, or did you see her and go like, whoa, that's Kimberly Walford?
Yeah, she's very aggressive when she lifts. Yeah.
Yep. Off camera, you mentioned that you broke your ribs, or you bruised your ribs a couple of times. You broke them?
Yeah. I started in this powerlifting club 2013, and this coach wanted me to go to a comp immediately. He kind of had a method of putting on a lot of weight on the bar and kind of steering the bar for the lifters.
Yeah.
That's kind of
interesting.
So I was squatting 180 kilos after like 4 months there. And, you know, I'm like weighing 67 kilos at the time. So I'm just a little twig. And I pulled my belt up really high and I just bent over and like it kind of crushed into my ribs. So I broke a rib, and I broke another rib a few months later again. I feel like you should have learned after the first time, but so it took a while before I got into my first competition experience. I think that was 2014 in like March or something.
You mentioned, you know, at the start of the episode that your identity was tied up around powerlifting. How long did it take from that first competition to reach that point where you were just like all in?
And that was already happening.
Yeah, straight away, first comp, all in. Mm-hmm. Explain to me what that was like.
I had probably already been searching for it for a while.
Searching for something,
yeah. I was 23. I remember watching Lions and Lamb and Lions, I think the title of the movie is, with Meryl Streep, Robert Redford, and Tom Cruise.
Okay.
Actually, maybe not Tom Cruise. Anyway, there's this scene where Robert Redford talks about living up to your true potential. And I was just bawling my eyes out because I felt so lost in life. Like I hadn't really reached a point where I felt accomplished in any area.
This was before.
I'm 23, so obviously I haven't.
This was before lifting?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But only just before,
right.
Like a few months before. And I think that was So like I was really looking for purpose and connection and belonging to something I was good at, people that kind of I could share things with in that way, and powerlifting just fit right in.
So if we continue on the timeline, we're up to like 2014 now. How long until you did a Worlds?
A year later.
2015. Was that Finland?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And how'd you go in that one?
I got third.
And then
European record in the squat.
In the squat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me your most memorable lift on the platform. And what's your most treasured competition performance, like as a whole?
They're probably the same. So I got an invite to the Arnold Grand Prix in 2018. And I had finally figured out how to compete, I think, at that point. Up until then, I was so stressed about it. It was not something I enjoyed at all. And I think at that point, I was finally starting to feel like I belong here and the platform is my place to be. I have earned my rights to compete at these competitions. And I'm also there to have fun. That's when I started to feel like fun is actually an important part of competing.
Yeah.
Even though you want to win, even though you're there to do like big things for yourself.
Those two go hand in hand, right?
They do, yeah. And I wanted to be the first one to squat 200 kilos in my weight class. So that had never been done before. 200 always felt like such a magical mystery number, as you can imagine, like really big milestone. And I went into the competition knowing that I was going to do it. And that was a very cool feeling because I had worked so much, with my mental imagery, visualized it over and over and over. It just felt like I'm just realizing now has already happened in my mind. I'm 100% sure that I'm going to get this lift. And I did. And it was really cool to be there mentally, like having worked my way there from being so stressed about it.
What did you do then to get yourself from being like an anxious mess to actually feeling comfortable? Like, was there a set of like steps that you followed to actually get there, or was it an experience?
Well, at the time, I was starting to look into sports psychology and all these concepts because I'm like, I'm not handling this very well. And I started learning about mental imagery, how you can practice something in your head before it's actually happening, if I do this, then I will do that. Or this is how it will feel to have the bar on my back. And this is what the crowd is going to sound like. I just kept, visualizing these things over and over until it felt very much like I'd already experienced it. So becoming used to the situation beforehand in your head is, I think, still very, very useful if you haven't done something before. And I got into the understanding of how much self-talk matters as well. So I started changing my self-talk a bit more actively. Started speaking to myself in a way that was more encouraging and tried to really believe what I was telling myself. And I also started to learn a bit more about arousal levels where they need to be in order to perform a lift really well. So started to learn how to regulate, knowing when to take deep breaths, knowing when to psych up and when to calm down. So all of those pieces were just starting to click a little bit.
So I remember you did a seminar in Sydney at City Strength.
Yeah.
Many years ago.
Yeah.
What was that, 2019 or something, 18? 19. That's a lot of the stuff that you taught in that seminar, right?
Yeah.
The stuff that you mentioned there.
Probably very, very basic understanding for someone holding a seminar.
Talk me through that, because I'm actually interested now in some of the more depth in some of those techniques. So let's start with visualization. We've got an audience of people who compete in powerlifting. How can they use visualization to help themselves? And what are some of the more in-depth pieces to that?
Yeah, I see it two ways. So visualization is good if you're nervous about something and not confident that you're going to be able to do it, because it helps you feel like you've already done it. So it helps you get used to the idea of what's going to happen. So you can practice the event and you try to go into as much detail as possible. I still do it when I'm getting sweaty palms now because I'm thinking about lifting. And you will feel that same arousal levels when you are actually visualizing a very heavy lift in front of other people. I started doing it when a plane was taking off and landing because I get a bit nervous. My stomach kind of like gets butterflies. So I would start thinking about pulling my final deadlift at Worlds and kind of started associating those thoughts with that feeling and just being more used to the idea of nervousness in your body. Because it's not a dangerous thing or a bad thing. I think that's something a lot of people really get twisted, is that they think they shouldn't be nervous. But it's more about learning that nervousness is okay to feel and getting used to that feeling in your body and holding space for those feelings that are uncomfortable in your body.
What's the saying? It's okay to have butterflies as long as they fly in formation. Is that the one?
Yeah.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So how do you actually visualize then? What do you actually do?
I will visualize standing, where you like standing before you step onto the platform.
At the chalk bowl, yeah.
Yeah, standing there, seeing the crowd waiting for me to step on, hearing bars loaded. I try to see in my head where the referees are sitting. If I am at a new competition venue, I will go to the competition venue so I've actually been there so I can have that picture more clearly in my head. If I can't be there, I will find an old live stream of that competition venue just to have an easier time imagining myself stepping onto that specific platform.
Is this something that you can do like just beforehand as well? Like, after weigh-ins or before weigh-ins, you just go and stand on the platform and just have a look at what it's all going to look like out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's good. The other thing I would say, though, is that if you are very confident that you can do something, this might not always be helpful. It can make you feel like you've already done the hard work. So that's when it can be helpful to think more of, this is a bit of a mouthful, implementation intentions. So you start to think about, if this goes wrong, then I will do that. If the bar feels heavy on my back when I unrack it, then I will get tighter in my upper back. Then I will remember how important it is to brace. So you tell yourself what to do in X, Y, Z situation. So that can be a little bit more useful if you're someone who maybe feels a bit too cocky and then gets really thrown when something bad happens because you were like so sure you were going to get it. So it's also important to visualize those steps where things could go wrong as well.
Yeah. What was the next point? Maybe breathing? How do you use breathing?
So we have, I don't know, are you familiar with flow state?
Yeah, like sort of.
Yeah. I mean, most people have probably heard of athletes being in the zone. And the term you can use for that, I suppose, is also flow state. And if you think of having really high anxiety levels and low levels of skill, it's very hard to get into flow. Like, it's hard to feel like you're in the zone. So you kind of have to match your arousal levels, like how heightened you feel, like how anxious you are or psyched up or whatever, to the level of skill that you have. So I have a really high level of skill in the squat, and I'm starting to get issues with actually being like under aroused before a heavy squat because I feel like
almost
whatever,
too confident, yeah.
So I have to figure out how to increase those arousal levels to meet the task that's in front of me. But then there might be other situations where, like going on a podcast, where I start to feel like, I don't know, I'm going to say the wrong thing or whatever. And I need to think about like bringing down those arousal levels a little bit so that I'm not talking too much. Remember to breathe, take a deep breath, it's fine. And calm down your body. But I wouldn't want to calm down my body before a heavy squat at this point because I really don't need to calm down. I need to get more psyched up.
Mm-hmm. How does that change for you lift to lift? Like, I would assume you get more psyched up for deadlift than you do for squat, and then bench is more chill. Like, how does that work for you?
Yeah, I would say now, this competition 3 weeks ago was a bit of a shocker because I always do get quite nervous before the first squat. Not at all.
You weren't?
No.
Was that a good thing?
I don't think so.
You need the nerves.
I think I was just, I need to be a little bit more on.
I think Rory and I said it on the stream that like your second was actually a lot better than your first one.
Yeah, and the third one, I was like, okay, yes, let's go, because I have never done that weight before.
Yeah.
And then I started to feel a bit like, okay, I kind of need to get into it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So what was the last part of the things that you taught at the seminar? I'm forgetting.
So we talked about this visualization.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about regulating your arousal levels, whether it's up or down, depending on the task that's in front of you. And then self-talk, which is also really important. Because a lot of new lifters or people who are unaware of how much it impacts you, they will say really shitty things to themselves and just go on and believe those things as if take them for facts. Not everything you hear in your own head is reality. It's just mental events that pass through. So you don't need to react to every thought that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can become a little bit more in control of that and start telling yourself things that actually help you, then I think you have, it's going to help you so much more.
So how do you then sort of like ignore those negative thoughts, but also like accept the positive ones or control the narrative in the positive way? Like, what are some strategies?
Yeah, I don't think it's very useful to try and block out thoughts because they can become quite intrusive.
Yeah.
I think it's better to just acknowledge that now I'm having these thoughts, but that doesn't mean it's true. And like choose what you feel is true. I would say self-talk is very individual. I know a lot of people respond really well to negative self-talk, so it's not like you have to speak positive things to yourself. Like some people actually don't be shit, or that was really bad, do it better. You know, like you can respond well to that if that's something that you feel personally that motivates you. While I am a very sensitive soul and I only want to hear nice things. So I tried to keep it positive. Yeah.
So how do you then identify where you fit on that spectrum of, you know, what stuff you should be telling yourself? Because, you know, as a coach, we have to learn about our lifters and figure out what they respond to. And that's something that I, you know, think that I'm actually quite good at, is figuring out the person in front of me and what they need to get them to the next level, whether it's the next lift or before the set or whatever it is. But how does the individual do that with themselves, with the things that they say to themselves? Like, how do they identify whether they need positive self-talk or whether they need a bit of tough love or whatever it is?
Good question. Hey, it's probably experience, isn't it? Like trial and error.
Yeah.
First step is definitely becoming aware of the thoughts that you're having and aware of how much it impacts you. I would say that things change over time as well. With experience, you know that things aren't working anymore. I might have to change my game a little bit. Like going back to that period where I was prepping for the 63 kilo class, like training was tough during that year. I lifted some really, really heavy weights deep in my diet, and I had always been telling myself easy. Whenever I unrack a squat, I say easy. And I've said it so many times that I just believe it when I hear it now. So I know it's going to be easy if I say easy. So simple.
Because I know a lot of people who would have the opposite reaction to easy.
Yeah.
In that you tell them that it's easy and then they're like, oh, I've already done it. It's easy. Like I don't have to try.
Yeah. Or people who say, you can't trick me. I know it's going to be heavy. So I need to tell myself this is going to be heavy.
Yeah. And that's something that I say to a lot of my clients, even Jane, who's training right now. Before her last comp, her last deadlift, I said, like, expect it to be hard. Like, expect it to be slow. And she came off the platform and said, like, I really needed that. That's because good. I probably would have given up on it otherwise.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's such an interesting topic. I love psychology and how it interplays with performance. I think it's, like, super interesting.
Yeah. I just was going to add to that with that training period that it wasn't easy anymore. And I had to start telling myself, it's possible.
Yeah, this will crush you.
It's possible.
Maybe.
You can potentially do
It's possible, maybe.
But it helped to be flexible and change the talk.
Yeah. See, yeah. I think one of the things that I like to do is I like to say to myself, like, you can do this, but can doesn't mean you will. In my mind, it's like you can only do this if you do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So I have to do X, Y, and Z in order to be able to do it, which I think helps me like actually do those things and follow those steps, get to the right arousal level, you know.
The process.
Brace. Yeah, that's right. Brace correctly, all that kind of stuff. Take me back to your sort of like falling out of love with powerlifting period. And I want to know like more about the sort of identity that you have had in training when you were like obsessed with it versus what that's like now. And sort of how do you actually think about powerlifting now? Like what does it mean to you?
I mean, I don't know for the person who's listening how long they've kind of been into powerlifting, because now it's gone so crazy what people are doing, you know, at Worlds and stuff. It's just unbelievable numbers, and I'm really well aware that I'm very far away from that. However, at the time, I was, you know, top 10 in the world for many years in a row. I kept breaking world records in the squat, and my social media was like exploding. It was always being reshared, like posted a training video. It kept going off, you know, like it was just a weird. I started developing a really weird relationship to myself and powerlifting in this kind of hype around it that I think is hard to escape when you're in it. I always feel almost like a little pang of pain when I see shooting stars in powerlifting, because I just hope that they can handle that shift in identity and come out on the other side just as happy as they went in.
I do remember you being one of the first, particularly female lifters, to have that big presence online.
Yeah.
And that thing that like you post a video and it just everyone sees it and it gets shared everywhere. Like I
Yeah.
do remember you specifically, and in particular your squats, just being like, yeah, this like superstar thing.
Yeah. And then you have like Reddit forums about you and your relationships and whether or not you're doing drugs. And it's just weird.
It is fucking weird.
Yeah. And I was in the shower thinking to myself, sorry for mentioning the details, it's just because it's such a clear memory.
It's okay.
I was like, if I'm not top 10 in the world, I don't like myself. I don't feel like I'm worthy of anything. That was like, I need to be top 10 in the world to have some sort of value. And hearing those words in my head, like realizing that that's it, I actually believe that. I was like, that's fucked. I need to change. I need to step out of this. I need to come back to reality a little bit, touch grass. And yeah, that's why it took so long, because it was such a big, deeply ingrained belief that I wasn't a valuable person except for my lifting skills. And obviously this goes like way back, right? You don't just get this from powerlifting. But I think when you get put into extreme situations, it probably exacerbates values that you've had with you for a long time. So yeah, I started going to therapy and just sorted that out. And it took a long time. And I think when you're on the other side of that, you realize that, you know, like I can't do things that hurt me in that way. Like I have to do things for me that are healthy for me.
So do you look back on that period fondly?
No.
Really?
Those years, no. Those were really tough years.
Even when you were breaking world records?
No. Oh, sorry, I misunderstood. Yeah, before that, those were incredible years. Yeah.
Do you prefer sort of those memories, or not I shouldn't say that. Do you sort of have like more positive thoughts about those periods of time compared to like now?
I mean, it's a little bit impossible to compare, because I was in a period where I was just completely destroying every single idea of what I was capable of and showing myself that I could do anything I wanted. I can leave my home country and travel and move to a different continent and just live in Airbnbs for 2 years through powerlifting. Like I can experience the world through this. I can break world records. I can lift weights that no one has lifted before. You know, it's completely fundamentally shaped how I see myself. Like I didn't feel like a capable person when I was young, but it made me feel capable powerlifting. And you have to be grateful for that, right? But now I also know that I don't have anything to prove. I can do nothing and be okay. I can be in my garden with my partner and have a good day, and that's enough. That day was a good day. I don't need to do anything for that day to be a good day.
Mm.
So, yeah, I wouldn't want to have lived my life not knowing what I was capable of, because I can implement that in other areas now.
So yeah, so even I guess those, you know, few years of sort of battling those internal thoughts and stuff, that's still worth it to you for what you achieved?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How do you feel like your identity with powerlifting is now then? And like, what does Isabella von Weissenberg mean to powerlifting now?
Well, we were talking about self-talk before and how it changes, and you asked me like how I kind of regulate before different lifts. And with the deadlift, I've noticed over time, like the last year or so, that I don't really have words. I just smile, like I'm just happy. And that says a lot to me. It's just a feeling. I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be lifting.
And that 225 you did, was that an all-time PB?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool that you can take such a step back mentally, but still move forward physically.
Yeah, that's just strange to me as well.
Yeah. Because it's like you do everything, you're all in for this pursuit.
Yeah.
And, it moves quite slowly. And you feel like if you're not all in, you're out.
Yeah.
But you're actually still in.
Yeah.
So
I'm not moving backwards, at least.
Yeah. So what's on the future horizon then for you?
Well, I'm running a half marathon in 4 weeks for some reason.
You couldn't pay me to do that.
No.
Why are you doing that?
Maybe someone will pay me. Brands will like it. I don't know.
Are you doing that because of Mike?
Are
you doing that because of Mike?
No. I actually like running.
You do? Okay.
I like running. But I also, it is that little bit extreme side of me that wants to see if I can do something. And I don't like, if something seems hard, I don't like having a voice saying you can't do it. So I kind of have to do it now.
So you're training for it?
Yeah.
How's that going?
Well, I ran 10 kilometers on Sunday.
Okay, that's halfway.
Yeah.
Almost.
That was fine.
Yeah.
Hurt my foot a bit, but
So how many Ks are you going to run then before the race?
I don't know.
What will be the
That you
longest
have to
run?
ask Mike.
Okay, I'll ask him.
Yeah.
Okay, what about in powerlifting then? What's next for you in powerlifting? Are you going to do nationals?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Because you wanted to go to 76.
I think so. I would love to go to Worlds again. I genuinely would.
For Sweden?
No.
For Australia?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, we'll have you.
But it's going to take a lot more than where I'm at now. So I feel like I need time.
Yeah, the 76 class is really good.
And 84.
And 84.
And 63 and 69.
Yeah.
And all the classes.
You're not going to go to 63.
No.
You're not going to do that. That's craziness.
No. No, I need time to build my total. Yeah. It's going to take a lot more than what I have been putting in. And I don't mean to say I haven't been trying, but I also I know I haven't been as consistent as I could have been.
There's a difference between not trying and then also like actually committing yourself. Because, you can try in the allotments that you give yourself. Might be like 3 1-hour sessions, but that's not the same as 4 1-hour sessions or 4 2-hour sessions or whatever.
And that fourth one might make a huge difference.
Yeah, exactly right. Cool. Well, I guess we can wrap it up there.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
We'll have to get a photo after this. Thank you, Joel. And everyone, we'll talk to you next week.